Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om. We interact with a number of objects throughout the day, whether they have spiritual significance or not. This drum does have spiritual significance for me, though I'm not very good at it, to be honest. I don't have a sense of musical rhythm. I've never been good at instruments, but that drum and me have a kind of a relationship. But whether it be a spiritual item like that, it might be a bell, it might be a singing bowl, might be an incense stand, incense holder. It might be sage, which was once alive, like a lot of things. It might be a ritual book of mantras or prayers. It might be a meditation cushion, or perhaps a mat that you pray upon. But it doesn't have to be spiritual objects, obviously. These spiritual objects are things that I interact with and I have a relationship to, and very physical, physical. We have these physical, touch-based relationships with these things. We don't really think about it. We don't really think about our skin being a membrane and what's within us and what's within that thing. Two kinds of spirits interacting. One very conscious, like a human being, like myself. One who has a lower level of consciousness, inert matter. But everything is made of consciousness. Whether it be a car, whether it be a pencil, a pen, a computer, we interact with all of these things, and we don't think of them as being conscious, of having consciousness. We don't think of them as entities in and of themselves, or having a spirit, or being composed of spirits, or us having a conversation when we interact with any of these things. We don't consciously view things as being conscious like us, just at a lower degree. There's a lot of people who talk to other people and don't really think about, how's that person feeling deep down? How are they doing today? What have they been through in their life? What have they thought about? What do they care about? What spiritual paths or what intellectual pursuits have they pursued and then not liked it and renounced, or pursued and got better at and became a big part of themselves, part of their life? What are they attracted to? What kind of music do they like? There's all kinds of qualities to all kinds of things. Now, all of these qualities that I named for human beings, there's a whole lot of qualities to inanimate objects that are all similar as far as these categories go, but to a much lesser degree. Metal has its own emotion. Copper, for instance, it's very malleable and forgiving in the process. I've worked with a lot of copper in metalsmithing at UNT, and metalworking at UNT, and jewelry making at UNT. But copper is very forgiving. It's very easy to mold back into something else. It's very easy to clean, then work with it again. Silver doesn't tarnish. You don't have to put it in a pickle, which is when you anneal something with a torch. That makes it pliable. And then you might hammer it, you might work it in some way. But then you have to put it in a pickle to, after you anneal it, after you heat it up, you have to put it in a pickle, then work on it. before you start using your hammer on it, because you don't get scuffs on your hammer from this black stuff that naturally happens when you heat it up. But you pickle it, which means you put in the sodium bisulfate, I believe, and then it works off all of this stuff, all this gunk on the surface of the copper. Silver, you don't need to pickle it. It doesn't tarnish. If it does tarnish, it's an entirely very subtle way, and it has its own kind of pickle that's not as powerful. And what I'm getting at is that there's kinds of emotions to inanimate objects, and there's these qualities that they have, these certain behaviors that they have based on their composition, can be very much likened to an emotion, a personality like we have. Just like the earth itself. We usually don't think of the earth as something that we just kind of, we're here, we're on it. We think of it in kind of subconsciously and in passing all the time, but we don't think of it as like a living thing to be nice to. And we don't usually think of trees as being the other half of our respiratory system. The other half of our lungs is out there, external, the trees themselves. That we put out carbon dioxide, they breathe it in, they give us oxygen back. Without them, we couldn't breathe. But we don't think of the trees as being the other half of our circulatory system, our respiratory system, and how we get oxygen, how we breathe. I feel like they're the membrane, like when we touch an object, that's our skin and us touching it and us not really thinking about touching it. We don't really think about all of the interactions with the things around us that we have every day. Whether it be very vital ones like trees producing the oxygen that we need and us breathing out what they need, or less vital ones like picking up a book or a magazine and thumbing through it. But you're having an interaction with those pages as you're touching them, moving the pages. The earth, you can believe this or not, but the earth is, for me and for many people, the earth is our mother. For me, the earth is an extension of Ma Kali, the Divine Mother. I'm a Shakta, so Ma Kali is the deepest nature of everything to me. She is the deepest nature to everything, and everything is a variation of her. But I'm not opposed to other ideas, I'm not opposed to people who aren't Shaktas. That's just how I understand things. But for me, the earth itself is a mother. An extension of Ma Kali, but is a mother. And there's plenty of cultures that believe that, the earth is a mother, or at least a parent of some kind, that the earth actually loves us. It actually wants us to be here. It wants to care for us. And when we hold the earth in that context, or we hold trees in the same context, where they're our friends, they help us, we help them. When we hold everything in this context, it becomes very sad, some of the things that we do to the earth. And it becomes even sadder when you think about the idea that, in Abrahamic traditions, God gave us the earth, and it's ours to use and manipulate and for our benefit. That human beings' lives and prosperity and enjoyment is more vital than the earth itself, because it was given to us. It's ours. It's not something that has feelings or rights. It's there for us to use. Of course, another part of the Bible, talks about we are the shepherds of this planet, of this world. We are not its abusers. We're not meant to use it. We're meant to shepherd it and take care of it. Because we have the mental faculties to do so, the intellect, the intelligence, and the ability. But we don't treat the earth like it's our mother. We don't treat the trees like they're our friends. We don't treat most animals like they're our friends. And we don't, most of the time, have a reciprocal relationship with this planet. And we should, because the earth is our mother. Have you ever looked in being maybe sitting somewhere? Maybe you're sitting in the restroom and you're on the toilet and you look in the tub and you see these little silverfish, little tiny bugs, just kind of like go moving around the tub. And they can't eat anything there. They probably came out from the wall, they fell in, they can't get out. And they just keep looking around it. And there's no food anywhere in there. There's no sustenance. There's nothing they can eat. But you see, it's very specific because I've done this, obviously. But I've seen, multiple silverfish at one point, and I don't have these anymore, but, in the tub that show up, but, the 3, 4, maybe 5 in the tub, going around looking for food, looking for water, looking for something that that nourishes them. And they can't find it. They'll never find it. And sometimes when they bump into each other, they get very aggressive and violent and like get angry at each other. Then, one's dominant, the other one moves off, and the dominant one moves off to look for food and water. A lot of the ideas and pursuits that humanity takes up, very materialistic pursuits, very materialistic ideas or ways of thinking. A lot of these things that we pick up, the earth is actually extremely intelligent, more intelligent than us. And the earth sees us and weeps for us. The earth, our mother, she weeps for us when we follow materialistic ideas. When we think of ourselves as more important than everyone else, or that wealth, money is valuable. It should be hoarded and loved and held on to. That old Protestant work ethic idea. And then if you have money in the Protestant work ethic, you can look this phrase up. It's longer than what I'm going to go into. And obviously, God wouldn't let you have money if you didn't deserve it. So obviously, it's a sign that you're blessed, that you're one of the chosen. It's more of a sign of a continuation of an eating away of trading pieces of our soul, in an analogy, pieces of a piece of what we truly are, the true path to valuing everything in ourselves and what truly matters than us, for something that's only valuable for a single life and can't really buy anything that will help you get closer to God, spirit, soul. And when we go down these paths, and it's not just, particular religion or atheism, but there's all kinds of ways of being egotistical, being greedy, and allowing your mind to be conquered by lust and greed, and valuing the material and what it can buy, and owning it, and status and things like that. There's all kinds of ways, whether you believe in God or not, or gods, or whatever there's all kinds of ways to abuse what's truly valuable in this world. And the abuse starts within us. And when the Mother Earth sees us and knows that we're doing this and sees us behaving this way to each other, the earth weeps for us. It does make the earth sad. The earth has emotions. This might seem very fanciful, but it's true. The earth has emotions, and it weeps for us even as we abuse the earth, even as we mistreat the earth. She still loves us like a mother. That's not to say that if it reaches a point where she starts to die, we start to die, or that weather starts to change in a drastic way because things need to be balanced back out and we've sent them off balance. But no matter what happens to us on this planet, whether we join together and work to a better earth, a more reciprocal relationship with nature, with Mother Earth, with each other, whether we do that, or whether we keep on going down the road of materialism and using up everything so that future generations have less, and we're just valuing this life, this moment, and just stuff. Whichever of those we do, the earth is watching us and cares for us and weeps tears of pain or joy with us. We have to stop thinking that everything is just ours to use, or that everybody should be the first man of Rome, where it's like you have to be on top. It's not. Life isn't about being on top. And if you're so focused on trying to be number one, or getting material, or surrendering to lust and greed mentally, and losing all the hard battles by giving into the easy way of hate and selfishness, if we continue to do that, then there's a pain deep within us, and it's kind of at the core of our being. It's our soul, and our soul is in pain with the earth. Our souls vibe with the earth. The more reciprocal and caring that we are for the earth and everyone else, it feels good within ourselves, because our soul's like, ooh, it's vibrating with the actions of this person, this ego that we are right now. And, at the end, you can look back and be like, oh, what a life. This was a great life. But materialistic people will always just be mourning at the very end of what they're losing, and probably thinking about enemies. And how much they hate them all the way back. And that's a very extreme kind of person. But at the end of the life, looking back, you might think about what you enjoyed, but first and foremost, you're going to think about who you enjoyed it with, and this beautiful world that we lived in. If you care for everything around you, if you value everything around you, don't just try to own it, possess it, then your soul will naturally be more, its process at the very end of life will be easier to go to a higher realm or go to another body easily. And the process of leaving this one will be much easier. We have to develop a relationship with everything that's very flow-based. That's very just not trying to fight everything or be better than everyone, but just working with everyone. Working with the earth in a way where we only take what we need. And we don't be cruel to either plants or animals that we get food from. If we're just kind in the way that we are, in the way that we touch things, interact things, what we eat, how we walk down the street, avoiding stepping on bugs, for instance, and being nice to animals as often as we can, and being nice to each other as much as we can glide through life in a very wonderful and beautiful way. And I think that maybe if more people thought about the little things, not stepping on bugs, not littering, not throwing something on your Mother Earth, putting it somewhere where it should go, and perhaps not using as much plastic, which you can't process as well, as quickly. If we do that, and then we also do all the little things, and then we also think about the big thing of, our mother is all around us, and she is valuable. She's everywhere, and she's valuable. Mother Earth is here. Her very atmosphere, her breath is what we breathe, that we're in. If we think of the small and the big, all of the life in between that we have will be much easier on our heart and our soul. We will vibe with our own soul, and we can glide through life without causing any kind of trouble in other people's lives. It was Tolstoy, I believe, that said, I was reading his book, The Kingdom of Heaven is Within You, or The Kingdom of Heaven is Within. I keep on forgetting the title. It's been a little while since I read some of it, but he was talking about, nonviolence and non-resistance to evil, which is, we're going back to Christianity, and this is a little bit different than this whole vibe of the rest of the video, but the idea of non-resistance to evil, and Jesus talking about this, and you have a lot of Christians that'll be like, oh, well, you have to resist evil. If somebody's doing evil, we have to fight them. And you talked about Jesus' teaching about non-resistance to evil, and Jesus was very much a renunciate. He renounced everything in this world. He throwing the money changers out of the temple in the story. It was a big analogy for throwing lust and greed out of your mind. The animals that were to be sacrificed were the lust, the animal nature of our lust. And then the money changers, who actually had the money, greed, throwing out the lust and the greed. But he was very much a renunciate, and this is why Christians have struggled to understand his work. Because, nonviolent renunciate, is an Eastern term for somebody who renounces materialism, who renounces not this world, not necessarily a spirit of this world, but renounces what society usually values, and hierarchy and all that, and status, and some people are more valuable than others, and slavery, and giving up to lust and greed. He renounces all those things. That's why it's very hard for Christians to understand it later on. Not all of them, but he was talking about non-resistance to evil, and that, if you're slapped on one cheek, then turn the other cheek. And then you should not forgive somebody, but 7 times 77, forgive somebody not once, but 7 times, but 7 times 77, something like that. But the idea of non-resistance to evil that Leo Tolstoy was talking about, he said that it was not necessarily about getting everybody in the world to not resist evil. It's not about that. He said that we only need a tiny percentage of people just willing to go through anything and not be violent, not hurt somebody no matter how much they are hurt, or not attack the people that is attacking them, to be kind to the world even if the world isn't kind to them, to be tender as they walk upon the earth, to be kind to the world around them and their fellow man, to refuse to be violent, to refuse to hurt. And he's talked about how if there's a small percentage of people on the planet that you only need like a very small percent. You don't need everybody to do this. And perhaps it's not right for everybody to do this like all at once. And because a lot of people be like, oh, we have to resist evil and this and that. It's like, no, but if you can be one of the few who are just kind, who can't and refuses to hurt other things. Like Gandhi said, if you're going to walk the path of nonviolence, you also have to accept that you'll die. That you can't kill a snake even if it's about to kill you. So you have part of nonviolence is not fearing death, contemplating it, not fearing it, and accepting it if it comes. But if you just had a small amount of people who were tender to the earth and tender to each other and refused to be violent, it would have a grander effect on the entire globe. Tolstoy talked a lot about, societally, people would see their example and be nicer to everything and to each other. And it would also, and I think that he mentioned this, but I'm bringing in some Eastern understanding as well, just that positive consciousness of a small minority would actually uplift the consciousness of the entire world, if even somewhat, but it would uplift everyone. Sometimes when we look at the earth and we see how much people litter, or we see how much violence there is, how many people hurting each other, we think, well, me being kind, or me not littering, or me not eating meat, or not eating products that use up too many of our resources or hurt the earth too much, me not doing that, it'd be just a tiny drop in the bucket, and it wouldn't really change the whole world, right? It wouldn't really make a big difference. And see, that's where our responsibility comes in. If we clarify and right ourselves and how we walk in this world and how we treat each other, other people, it has a much bigger effect than you might think. It has an uplifting effect that you can't quite see in the moment unless you're looking very hard. But just the way that you are, if you're just kind, you're just peaceful, you can affect so many lives, human lives. You affect the planet as well and raise the vibration of this planet itself. You can do that just by being kind to this earth and each other. You can raise the vibration far more than you think. It'll just be a little bit, but one person at a time making the decision to be responsible, to love this planet, and to love their fellow man, to love animals. One person, make that decision for yourself and do that. And you don't even need a whole lot of the planet doing this. But if we just have a little bit more percentage of people doing this, the earth will be that much better. Far more better than you might think, just by you taking the responsibility to be a little kinder, to be a little bit more loving, to be sweet with how you interact with things, even inanimate objects like a car, not slamming doors, not slamming cabinets, gently closing things, patting things every now and then, looking around with a smile. It will raise the vibration just a little bit of the entire planet, but you'll have done great work just by being sweet and kind yourself. We can protect the earth. We can save the earth. And it doesn't take a whole bunch of us. But the earth loves us and we should love it back. And just make the decision for yourself. We can protect the earth. We can love the earth, for it loves us. And when I connect to the earth through trees, I notice how trees' individuality is just like, they feel like they're a little bit more, they feel like they're poking out of the earth. Like they're aware that they're coming out, but they're not aware that they're separate from the earth. And every tree, when I connect to their consciousness and put my body awareness into them, they always think that they're a bigger pokey bit than other pokey bits. That's the extent of their individuality. Where they think that they're bigger, their spatial awareness is that, oh, I'm this poke. And they're more aware of their little poke out of the earth, out of the entire earth, than, other little pokey bits coming out. But it's not in English per se, but that's just the vibe that I get. But they still feel that connection. They don't have a separate awareness from the earth like we do. But perhaps it's the illusion of separation, and we have to get past that and return part of our consciousness to that collaboration with the earth. Let's save the earth together. Let's raise the consciousness of the earth, the vibration of the earth, and of humanity as a whole. Just do your little part. That's all I'm asking. Try it. And it'll be easier to glide through life as well. You won't suffer as much. You won't get as much stuff. And you might not enter into a relationship where you have a super attractive mate, but you will find maybe a spiritual or a very sweet person. And same with friendships. You might not find the coolest people, but you'll find sweet people and nice people. And life, a subtle, calm, and peaceful life is a beautiful life. And you don't need to strive and resist as much to get ahead in this world and think of hierarchy or anything like that. Just be sweet and kind. And honestly, in the long term, long term, if you don't thank me, you'll at least thank these ideas. If you continue to research this and look things up, you'll live a much better life, and we can save and help this earth together and save and help each other. At any rate, I hope this was interesting. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope that all this made sense. Like this video, it helps out the channel. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to share this video wherever you want. I'm more than open to that. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Be sweet and kind to each other. Be sweet and kind to the earth. Be sweet and kind to everything. And all of you, have a wonderful day.